that, let me know and get you involved. Okay, our next presenter is going to be Nick Frisbee. And I don't know what he did to land this internship. But Nick is originally from Harper, Texas, which is out in the hill country. He's going to graduate in May of next year. He wants to go to graduate school, and he told me what Washington State. And then his favorite soil is Honolulu, silty clay loam. So I asked him what the favorite plant or animal was for plant and soil. And he did his internship with Bear Cropscience in Hawaii. Tough place to go to.
Yep. Awesome. Howdy, my name is Nick Frisbee, as we mentioned before. I work here in the department, so hopefully you've seen me around. So as Dr. Higgs stated, I was working with Bear Cropscience in Hawaii over the summer. So a little disclaimer, I was in their breeding department, so a lot of the stuff I worked on was proprietary. So I'll try and give you as much as I can, but I filled it with lots of cool pictures, so hopefully that'll keep you busy. So the first slide, I wanted to go through an introduction and site location. Then I want to talk about 3 of my main trials that I worked on. I had a bird trial, a fungicide and herbicide trial, and then a pollinator garden and habitat there on the farm. And then I want to finish with some other experiments and learning outcomes throughout the farm. So Bear Cropscience, their motto is Science for a Better Life. Bear officially acquired Monsanto in 2018, in June to be exact. So we're still in the process of Monsanto turning over into Bayer. A lot of the same people from Monsanto that were there in Hawaii are still working there, and Bayer plans to continue that relationship in the future. So Bayer, or Monsanto, was the largest agriculture company in Hawaii, and also the 3rd largest employer behind tourism and military. The population of the Hawaiian Islands is very culturally diverse. Filipino, Japanese, Native Hawaiians, Caucasians, many more different races there. So the internship started and ended in their headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri. And this was my site in Hawaii. So we were on Lower Kunia. There was 3 sites in Hawaii. Lower Kunia mainly handled the breeding of the entire operations. The other 2 sites were mainly the bulking of the corn to get it out. The farm that I was on was roughly 200 acres. It's near the center of the island. So a lot of it was under irrigation as the most arid part of the island. There's about 150 workers at our site alone. And something unique about the Hawaii site is they have 2 planting seasons year-round. So sites back on the mainland and then their other sites, such as Puerto Rico, some South America sites will send their corn over to Hawaii. They'll grow it during the wintertime, ship it back so they can grow it during their growing season as well. So my first trial was with birds. We were looking at a repellent tactic for the birds. The birds would come in, dig up the seed, eat it a lot, or whenever the seed had germinated, they would go through and clip it, causing a delay in the yield for the future. So we were looking at a seed treatment. It's called Avapel. It's being out in the commercial application. That would coat the seed, and then you'd plant it, and it's supposed to taste really bad to the birds. But we soon realized that doesn't help us at all because that means the bird had already tasted it. So the seed had been dug up. So then we wanted to look at a foliar application spray that is supposed to smell bad to them and keep them away. That didn't work too well either. So as of now, I think they were resorting to netting, which is a very not cost-efficient option. But whenever you're looking at seed as valuable as they had there at the island, they wanted to keep it from being eaten. So the next trials were a fungicide and herbicide trial. So with the fungicide, we wanted to control ear rot. I didn't have any here. That's my up in the top left. So we wanted to control ear rot with different varieties of the inbreds that they had there. And then the herbicide trial, sandburr was a huge problem there on the farm because of the very sandy soils that they had. So if they didn't control that come harvest time, a lot of the harvests were hand-picked. So the workers would just come back covered in sandburrs, and the corn seed would be contaminated with that as well. And another project I helped out with was this pollinator habitat. So it was in the very beginning stages. They were trying to get World Habitat certification for this pollinator garden. And they also wanted to make an educational opportunity because they have lots of school tours that come through the farm to learn more about a farming operation, since they are one of the only farming operations on the island. So they wanted to have this as an educational and also provide a pollinator habitat for their migrating pollinators throughout the island. So a key for the little habitat certification was that all the plants had to be native and within the same seed zone as the farm. So that was a challenge on the farm because the seed zone we were in was very small, and all the plants had to be moderately drought tolerant to live there at the farm. So some other supplemental experiences. Here's me flying from Oahu to Molokai. Molokai is a foundation site, and what they mean by that is just where they send the seed to bulk it for production. So it is one of the challenges of Molokai is it is one of the most isolated sites in the island. So they only get shipments every Thursday. So they would get big storage lockers shipped into the site, and they'd have to pack it to the as full as they could, and then ship it out whenever they were ready to send it out. So the entire island, I thought it was really cool, is powered by a one-stack coal plant. It used to be run off of generators and gasoline, but then they put in a coal plant in the 80s, I believe, and powered it by them. And every year there's a paddleboard and boat race to Oahu. That's pretty interesting. So this is one of the national parks on Molokai. We weren't actually able to go to it because of a landslide blocked the only way in. So the only way you can access that is either by boat or plane. And there's, I believe, it was a leprosy settlement, if I didn't mention that before. And there's still 4 to 5 people living with leprosy there. And once those people pass away, they'll make it an official national park. This was really cool. A local myth and legend. If you didn't know what that was, they call that phallic rock. So they believed that they would send women up there, they'd spend the night up there, and they would come back with children. Here's a site picture with other interns. And now next we went to Maui. So Maui is one of their most important sites throughout the island. So on Maui, that's where they had their trade integration. So they were looking at getting those genes into the corn plants. They had really strict policies on seed protection in Maui. So they actually do everything in giant netted greenhouses or within closed greenhouse situations. And they also had the best banana bread in the island. So if you love banana bread, I definitely recommend that. This more site. So on the right there is the top of Haleakala. That's another national park there. It's a huge shield volcano that from the island. This is Wainapanapa. It's the black sand beach there in Maui. And here's a red sand beach that I didn't know at the time, but it was also a nudist beach, so we left that one pretty quick. Here is my first outing doing cliff jumping, thinking about to jump from the top. And here's me at the top of Haleakala. And I didn't know, I believe it's up about 3,000 feet. And I was there in swim trunks with tank top and tacos when it was about 40 degrees outside. So that wasn't very fun. Now, some learning outcomes. We used a lot of R, whether it was doing statistics or finding other problems with my studies. And then mapping and inventory software. Bear has a lot of in-house GIS programs that they use. So that was interesting learning that. And then as well as different IPM techniques and scouting, they had me go out and help with the scouting team. They scout every field twice a week. So there's a lot of labor that they needed to scout each of their plants. And then as well as hand pollinations and detasseling. So whatever the mechanical detasseler missed, we'd have to go in and get those tasseled out for the pollinations. And then as well as community engagement. So they spend a huge amount of their budget on community engagement there in Hawaii. In fact, when I was flying in, it was actually their annual event called March Against Monsanto. So there was people outside the airport with protesting signs and protesting GMOs. So the farm there in Hawaii plays a big part. They're trying to get more GMO awareness. They bring out a lot of kids from local elementary schools to try and get them exposed to that science and make sure, try and team down the reputation that Monsanto has. And then another dog walk and outreach. They have a big dog walk where everyone brings their dogs. We help out a lot with that. So some fun things. There's the Mahune, or the night marchers, they call them. There are these mythical little people that were supposed to be inhabiting the island before the first Polynesians came. Lots of myths surrounding that, and everyone would have, they're kind of the equivalent of garden gnomes there. And then this second one is the longest word in the Hawaiian language. Hawaiian language is pretty easy. There's just 13 letters from the English alphabet, all are vowels, and then 7 consonants. So this one, I'll try not to butcher it. It's humu humu nuku nuku apua'a. That's the fish right up there. I couldn't get a picture of them because they're pretty fast. And as well as the food, it's really nice because there's so many of those cultures. As I had in my beginning slide, there's so much different food to try there. Also, one of my coworkers was a big spearfisher, so he took me out. That was a little scary. Got too close to a shark, and then I had to go. And then I went skydiving. That was another blast, much to my parents' disapproval. And then I wanted to leave with this. The saying that's their state motto, "Umau ke'ia oka'aina ikona." That means the life of the land is dwells in righteousness. So they really thought that you take care of the land and it'll take care of you. But I really thought that went well with our agriculture principles. Awesome. So that's all I got.
Question for Nick.
Do you see any of like the local agricultural operations? I know they built papaya, but what else do local growers?
Yeah, so there they have pineapple, of course, the Gulf plantations really big on Oahu, mango, papaya. They grow a little bit of rice on the other islands, banana, dragon fruit, a lot of fruits, crops. Yeah, but we focused mainly, we had about 3 acres of soybean, but that's moving to Puerto Rico, and then it's just all going to corn. Yep.
So now that Monsanto is like being solved, does it have the same reputation that blind people as?
No, so that was actually, yeah, that's really good. So a lot of people would be like, oh, you're with Bayer, who is that? And they wouldn't know, even though it was the same exact people. So that was actually a really smart move for in Hawaii, because we'd go to the different fairs and stuff, and you could tell a lot of the people that were really strong protesting it knew that Bayer had acquired Monsanto, but the people that were just bandwagoning on the protest, they were like, oh, that's really cool, I've never heard of Bayer, you know, and we'd be doing the same exact thing that they were doing under Monsanto. So it's a blessing in a sense to be acquired.
Actually, I have an overall question. Can I sign up to do this internship?